All right, passage number 3. Wesley Hofield, a Harvard Law professor in the early part of the 20th century, developed an analytical framework for understanding interest in property. Hofield's 8 terms are arranged in 2 tables of correlatives and opposites that structure the internal relationships among the different fundamental legal rights. So, Mr. Wesley, what did Mr. Wesley do? Mr. Wesley, in trying to develop an analytical framework for understanding interest in property, he was able to arrange the different fundamental legal rights, not just from a property angle, but the arrangement of different fundamental legal rights and how they work into 2 tables called correlatives and opposites. All right. Let's take a look. What are jural opposites then? Right, no right, privilege, duty. This is how it's going, guys. Right, no right, privilege, duty, power, disability, immunity, and liability. All right. A privilege is the opposite of a duty. Okay, so these are opposites. A no right is the opposite of a right. A disability is the opposite of a power. And immunity is the opposite of a liability. So basically, this is the way they are defined. What are? If somebody has if somebody has a right, then you can either have a right or have a no right. You can either be privileged or have duty. You can either have power or disability. You can either be immune or liable. You cannot be both. They are opposites. Okay. What are correlatives then? Right and duty can privilege and no right, power and liability, immunity and disability. These are correlations. Okay, let's try to understand them. Correlatives signifies that these interests exist on opposite sides of a pair of persons involved in a legal relationships. They are if 2 people, say A and B, are involved in a legal relationship, one of them may have a right, one of them may have a duty, one of them may have a privilege, one of them has a no right, one of them may have power, the other may have liability, one of them may be immune, the other may be disabled. They may exist on the opposite sides of 2 individuals involved in a legal relationship. If someone has a right, it exists with respect to someone else who has a duty. If someone has a privilege, it exists with respect to someone else who has no right, right? If someone has a power, it exists with respect to someone else who has a liability. If someone has an immunity, it exists with respect to someone else who has a disability. We'll try to understand them better. So far, this is the definition. Okay, let's just keep a track of what is going on. A right can be enforced by a lawsuit against the person who has the correlative duty. So somebody who has a right can enforce a legal action against somebody who has a duty. A privilege negates that right and duty and typically would be asserted as an affirmative defense in the lawsuit. And a privilege can be used to negate this. Privilege can be used to negate this. A power is the capacity to create or change a legal relationship. If I have power, I can change this relationship. Power, change relationships. For example, great. Now we have an example to help understand it better. When someone makes an offer of a contract, that gives the offeree the power to create a contract by accepting the offer or not. Somebody is giving you a contract. If you choose to accept it, you are the one creating that contract. All right. So if the power to create the contract is exercised, then both parties have rights and duties with respect to each other. Now, within the paradigm of that contract, somebody has a right, somebody has a duty. Okay. Courts have power only if plaintiffs or prosecutors exercise their power to commence a lawsuit. Courts will only get involved if a lawsuit is commenced. Sovereign states are immune because courts lack power over them. in which case courts are said to have a disability with respect to sovereigns. Sovereign states are not part of the deal, part of your contract, are immune because courts lack power over them. Okay. If I own property, it means that I have various rights with respect to the thing constituting my property. If I own property, I have rights with respect to ownership. Respect to ownership of said property. Okay. The bundle of sticks or rights. Okay. So this is referred to as the bundle of sticks. I probably have the right to exclude, and everyone else in the world has a correlative duty not to use my property. So this is it's sort of giving you another insight into how those correlatives work, right? It's saying I have the right to exclude people, and therefore everybody else has a correlative duty to not use the property. So if I say choose to exclude, which is my right, others have a duty of what? Not using property. Not using the property is the duty of others. Some people may have a privilege, however, as to fly over it. Some people may have a privilege. Okay, with respect to property, privilege. Some people may be privileged to, as an example, flying over it. I also have the power with respect to my property because I can create rights in others as by transferring some or all of the property to them, as by creating an easement which gives the grantee certain rights vis-a-vis others and certain rights and privileges vis-a-vis me. Also, the owner can have certain rights, create rights, grant that power to others. So this is called creating easement. Creating an easement which gives the grantee certain rights vis-a-vis others. So this, once I create rights for someone in particular, this gives rights to grantee with respect to others and privileges with respect to me. You can have certain rights which gives the grantee certain rights vis-a-vis others and certain rights and privileges vis-a-vis me. So the relationship between the one who's getting the rights, grantee, they may have different rights when it comes to others and certain rights and privileges when it comes to me. That is something that I can do in my property ownership. So the whole passage, if you look at it, is basically a theoretical understanding of how rights work, how they work in terms of from looking from an individual perspective to others, and how they work from a black and white domain to sort of how they work in a relative domain, right? How they work, how my rights are exercisable from my own perspective, and how they work in terms of the rest of the world, right? The text is an example of a passage that is literary. What is the tone of the author is also a common way of asking, right? What kind of a passage is this? What is it trying to do really? Is it literary? No, it's not a literary passage. Descriptive. I mean, it is describing, but really is it just describing? No. Far more detailed for that. Argumentative? Not really, no. It's not really argumentative. It's not like we see many sides of this concept. Informative is what it is. It is really giving us information about how rights are arranged and how these function in the. Select the words from the text that correctly substitutes the underlined words in the following sentences. She gained exemption from the accountability of paying excessive maintenance when the apartment owner changes. Exemption and accountability. We need to identify a replacement for these two words. Okay, let's take a look. She gained power from the defense of paying. It's not really defense. Power, maybe I can consider that it's, but it's not really even power is not really a good way to say it, right? Because it's not giving them any other they're not getting any right that they can pass. All right, so A is wrong. Privilege. Okay, privilege, maybe we can consider that. From the offeree. No, offeree is incorrect. Privilege could have been considered. It's a privilege that the exemption itself can be treated as a privilege, but could have been treated as a privilege, but offeree is clearly wrong. Respect. She gained respect from the contract of paying. No, clearly not. She gained immunity. Yes, she's immune. Exemption. Therefore, she's immune from the liability. This is a liability, right? Paying excessive maintenance would have been a liability. I don't have to pay. I've been granted exception. Therefore, I'm immune to paying extra maintenance. So, therefore, D is correct. Which option includes a foreign word used in the English language from the text? Correlative. This is basically a vocabulary test, really. Correlative is English. Plaintiff is again English. Vis-a-vis is French. So C is correct. Grant is also English. C is my right option. 28. Select the option that can be used as a title from the text. Okay. All rights reserved. So really, if you look at it, is basically how the law is implemented, right? How these rights can be exercised and how the law looks at the implementation of these rights. It's not really the right way to say it. Fine print, okay, but not really. I think there's a better way to say it. Letter of the law. This is a good pick. Burden of proof. We're not really discussing arguments. Therefore, D is irrelevant in this case. Letter of the law. The application of the law. How it works. The defining of the theoretical framework of it. Therefore, D, C is correct. Select the option that includes information that is an appropriate fit into the passage. So we need to find a statement that would have fit right into the passage, as in it would have it would not be out of place. It is still talking about the concept that we are discussing. Hegel, Kant, Hume and others say that right refers to the power of self-expression. However, Duguid opposes this vehemently. Another theorist of rights is Ehring, a great German jurist. No. Philosophical theories, the philosophical angle of law is not what we're looking at. A is wrong. Human rights are those which, considering their rationality, faith, age, race, is intrinsic to all human beings. One of the great achievements of the UN is the creation of a comprehensive body of human rights law. This is incorrect. Specific to human rights, that's not what we are looking at. A legal right is an interest accepted and protected by law. If these rights get violated, then the person has the right to move the court for enforcing the rights. This looks good. What is this saying? It's talking about what legal right is, how they're protected by the law, and what happens if the violation is done, and how the person can move the courts for enforcing the said rights. Okay. D. Any debasement of any legal rights is punished by law. Okay. Employment and discrimination laws provide the legal framework defining an employee's rights. Yada yada yada. This is talking about employee rights in particular. we are looking at what a legal right is and the theoretical framework surrounding the legal rights and how they're enforced by law in terms of the letter of the law, right? So this is the right option.